Plus, once you get that, you're pretty much guaranteed a nomination since there are only 10 parts of any size. John Wayne didn't fight in World War II, but he did fight in a secret war that no one knew about. In the 1950s, Soviet killers were looking for him all over the United States. They sent shooters to Mexico and tried to kill him in his office and on movie sets. Wayne turned down FBI protection and deal with them himself. Put a gun to the heads of 2 KGB spies and said something that killed them. The story was kept secret for many years until a well-known director told it at a dinner party. But the real question is whether this famous fight really happened or whether it's just Hollywood's biggest lie. John Wayne was born in Winterset, Iowa, on May 26, 1907, in a small house at 224 South 2nd Street. The local news said that he was 13 pounds. Which shocked everyone at the time. His dad, Clyde, was a pharmacist, but he wasn't very good at it. He didn't make much more than a store clerk, and they never had enough money. Mary, his mother, was from Nebraska. She had hopes and dreams, but they were hard to reach in that small Iowa town. Women liked Clyde's good looks and smile, but charm wasn't enough to pay the bills. He kept starting drug stores that didn't do well. They were broke by 1910. To stay alive while living with Mary's parents in Des Moines. In 7 years, the family moved 5 times, all within Iowa. They went from Winterset to Brooklyn to Earlham to Keokuk and back again. This was their last home in Brooklyn. Marion was only 7 years old when it caught fire from a stove spark in 1914. That was the last sign. They moved to California after packing up what they could. He would always remember that fire. In 1916, they were living at 404 Isabel Street in Glendale. Duke, a big Airedale dog, was Marion's only real friend. He went everywhere with him. They couldn't be separated. Everyone that saw them every day started calling the man Little Duke and the dog Big Duke. That was a lot better to him than his given name, which he thought sounded soft. From that day on, he was known as Duke. Mary Morrison wasn't just big in high school. He was 6 feet 4 inches tall and played football like there were no brakes on the train. He was also smart. He was in charge of the Latin club, wrote for the school paper, and could argue with the best of them. In 1925, he was given a scholarship to play football at USC. Things finally seemed to be going well for him. But he had a bad fall one day while body surfing at Huntington Beach. He broke both collarbones. He lied to the coach about what happened to hide the truth, but it didn't matter. He was unable to play as well as he used to. It was taken away from him. He didn't have any money. In May 1927, he had no choice but to quit. He got a job as a set boy at Fox Studios for $35 a week while he was still at USC. It was just enough to stay alive. He got things moved, lifted furniture, and helped electricians. Between 1925 and 1929, he even worked as an extra in 9 silent movies. Not one of them gave him credit. No one knew what his name was. He played a rich Ivy League football player in one of those movies, even though he really had trouble paying his rent. In May 1927, he got on a ship to Hawaii without being seen because he had nothing left to lose. He was caught and will be sent back in June. Out of money and shame, he went straight to John Ford and asked for any job. He got lucky once. Somebody had to play the lead role in Raoul Walsh's 1930 movie The Big Trail. He picked Wayne right away after seeing him move some furniture. But Marion Morrison didn't sound like a leading guy. Walsh liked the name Anthony Wayne, which comes from the name of an American general, but the studio turned it down. They chose John Wayne in the end, and he wasn't even asked what they thought. He didn't choose the name that would be known all over the world. He used to be a set boy with no name. One minute he was John Wayne, the star of a $1 million western. However, The Big Path was a mess. It was filmed by Fox in a fancy widescreen style called 70mm. However, almost no theater in the country had the right gear, making it cost $2 million. It fell flat. Wayne was to blame. Big companies wouldn't work with him, so he was stuck in low-budget B-movies. He made over 80 of them between 1930 and 1939, making about $75 per movie. In just 4 days, some people were shot. He had to sing in one movie. The trouble was that he could not sing at all. It became funny how bad the voice was. Because they couldn't afford new clothes, he wore the same one in several movies. It was hard work. It made me feel bad. He didn't stop, though. He pulled off all of his tricks himself. That meant pain back then. He had to use a cruel trick called the running W to fall off horses that were racing. To trip the horse, they tied wires to its legs. A lot of the time, the horses broke legs. Wayne was thrown and hit rocks, which hurt his back. For good. No trick double or safety net was there. He was the only one taking the hits for the money. After many years, he wouldn't work on any movies that used those cruel techniques again. What he saw stuck with him. He worked closely with the brave rodeo star Yakima Canet in 1934. Canet taught him how to walk, talk, and ride like a horse. Wayne tried to jump from a horse to a wagon in one scene from The Lucky Texan. He missed. He hit a rock with his face first. His nose is a little crooked and has a scar on his mouth from that crash. They never got better, but they became a part of his look. He kept going until he learned how to fake hits and fall just right so it looked real. No one was hurt. Then 1939 came along and changed everything. John Ford gave him another chance in the Stagecoach. The cost plan was $546,200. It's not too small or too big. They shot in Monument Valley. Everything fell into place when Wayne showed up on screen as the Ringo Kid with a saddle in one hand and a Winchester in the other. When that shot zoomed in on his 6'4" body, he looked like he owned the screen. The movie made $1.1 million in the US, and Wayne went from being a nobody in B-movies to a big star. Ford was cruel behind the scenes. He yelled at Wayne in front of everyone. Called him a cooked egg and made fun of the way he walked. It was mean. But Ford thought that Wayne had to be broken in order to be fixed. He didn't want a fake tough guy. He planned to get the real thing. And Wayne took all of them. He didn't argue back. He worked more hard. That beating gave birth to the actor who for the next 30 years would be seen as a strong person. John Wayne stayed in Hollywood during World War II, when many young American men were leaving their homes and jobs to fight. When Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, he was already 34 years old. He had a strong body. He was in great health. But he said he had 4 kids who needed him. He got a 3A delay because of that. Instead of going to war, John Wayne dressed up as a soldier and played one in movies. He was the lead in the 1942 movie Flying Tigers as the brave American pilot Captain Jim Gordon who fought in China. The theaters were full. People cheered for the hero they saw on TV. In real life, though, many people weren't happy. Herbert Yates, the boss of the studio, told Wayne not to join behind closed doors. He told Wayne that Republic Pictures would sue him if he joined the Guard. Wayne was their only big star, and they had to keep making money with him. After that, Hollywood stepped in again when Wayne's draft standing changed to 1A, which meant he was ready to serve. After some work, they moved him to 2A. Saying that he was important to the country's attention through film. The government agreed. That was it. The man who played America's hero never had to risk his life in real life. He would always have that gap between what he thought and what was true. In 1944, after 2 years, the fighting Seabees hit the hulls. Wayne's character gives his life for the war effort by dying in a blast caused by a bulldozer. The audiences cried. But real soldiers weren't impressed when the film group went to military bases in the South Pacific. Others were so mad that Wayne hadn't been in real danger that they tried to start fights with him. Even though the movie was up for an Oscar, a lot of soldiers still couldn't tell the difference between the actor and the truth. Wayne played a man who died for his country, but he didn't have to go to the war because he was too important to their country. Wayne really was going through a different kind of war in Hollywood. He met Marlene Dietrich while making the movie Seven Sinners in 1940. Not only was she pretty, she was also brave. She told the director, "Buy me that," as soon as she saw Wayne. They started a very heated relationship. Wayne was married and had 3 kids, but he still tried to balance his love life in Hollywood with being a husband and father. He made his wife Josephine suffer in silence. She asked for a breakup in 1943 and then a divorce in 1944. She was found guilty by the court because Wayne had hurt her physically and emotionally. He lost $100,000, which is more than $1.5 million these days. His romance with Dietrich had taken over his life. Some people even think that's one reason he didn't join the army. He just couldn't leave her. In 1945, Wayne was making back to Bataan while American troops were hurt in Europe and the Pacific. He played a colonel who led Filipino rebels against Japan. But this time, more people were critical. He had made 13 movies about war, but he had never been to a fight. Veterans thought it was very disrespectful that the movie came out right after Germany gave up. Wayne seemed to be making money off of other men's pain. It was still packed in theaters. The movie made a lot of money. Some people thought Wayne was a real war hero, but they knew it was all made up. He started getting letters, a lot of them. A lot of people called him a fool. Some people said worse things about him. He felt terrible guilt. Pilar, his 3rd wife, once said that he tried to prove he wasn't weak all his life. He did crazy things during the Cold War. He not only backed anti-communist ideas, he became a symbol of them. He backed the Un-American Activities Committee in the House. He was in movies that tried to get their point across. He tried to join the OSS, which later turned into the CIA, just to show that he could do his job. Even though they turned him down, he kept trying to show that he was faithful. In 1943 and 1944, he went to different USO bases and shook hands with men who had done things he had never done. He always felt bad about himself. An all-time favorite movie, Red River, came out in 1948 with him in the lead role. But he had a fight with director Howard Hawks behind the scenes, and the set was tense. The man Wayne played was a lot older than him. He was a tough rancher who was trying to keep a cattle drive under control. People were shocked by his showing. John Ford, who used to direct him, said he had no idea Wayne could act that way. Even though the movie won 2 Oscars, Wayne's past still followed him around. His domestic life kept falling apart. He got married to Esperanza Bauer after getting divorced from Josephine. There were also claims of violence, cheating, and drinking in that marriage, which ended badly as well. While on a scouting trip in Peru in 1952, he met Pilar Paletic. She was younger, married, and beautiful. They started dating, which led to Wayne's 3rd marriage, but it didn't last either. By 1971, they were no longer together. Wayne never got a divorce, but when he died in 1979, he kept her out of his will. He was married 3 times and had 6 children. The newspapers wrote about everything. In 1950's The Searchers, Wayne played a racist Civil War soldier who was obsessed with getting even. It was a dark part. And raw, and it felt too real to be true. In interviews, Wayne had already said things about Native Americans that made him sound like the part he was playing. Some critics liked how daring the movie was, but others pointed out that the man played the part. Wayne did more than just play a mean person. He saw a part of himself in her. He directed, produced, and helped pay for part of the cost of making The Alamo in 1960. He thought it would be his legacy. But it almost broke him. The budget went over $12 million in no time. He had to borrow money, get a mortgage, and even risk his own cars to finish it. Many things went wrong in the movie. Someone hurt their foot. A background player died in a fight with his or her partner. Wayne had no choice but to go to court. The movie didn't do well at the box office, but it got an Oscar for sound. Wayne lost money and faith in himself. He still couldn't get rid of the draft dodger tag. So, in 1952, he made Big Jim McLean, a movie that made the Hugh act look good and made hunting communists seem like a brave task. He didn't just act in it, he also made it. As a studio boss, it was his first time being behind the camera. Some people made fun of it, but Wayne got what he wanted. He became the face of the fight against communism. In the same year, He helped get High Noon author Carl Foreman out of the country. Foreman wouldn't give Wack any names. Wayne didn't let him off the hook. Wayne made threats against Gary Cooper when he joined forces with Foreman. The movie High Noon won Cooper an Oscar. Wayne still said he never felt bad about sending the person who wrote it to jail. Wayne became even more obsessed with fighting communism. He joined the group John Birch. A group that thought the communists already ran the government. They thought that President Eisenhower was working for the Soviet Union. Wayne left the group in the end, but he never saw them again. He said that leftists were against freedom. He had a fight with Kirk Douglas, who hired writer Dalton Trumbo to help break the ban. Wayne thought Stalin had even tried to kill him. People said that Wayne was an FBI agent. He is said to have called people out behind their backs, which helped put artists like Philip Loeb on a blacklist. Loeb killed himself in 1955 because he couldn't find work. He had to take care of his sick son. Without money, he couldn't do it. The method that killed Wayne was made with help from Wayne's alliance. A lot of people's lives were wrecked by the blacklist, and Wayne helped make it happen. In 1964, he realized how much it cost him to smoke all the time. The growth on his left lung was about the size of a golf ball. When they found out, he smoked up to 5 packs a day. During surgery, he lost a lung and some ribs, but he didn't give up completely. Kept showing up in Camel ads with cigarettes in their hands. He never got his air back. Every movie and scene for the next 15 years hurt. He helped make the politically charged movie The Green Berets in 1968, which was set during the Vietnam War. People really liked it. Protesters didn't like it. People waved Viet Cong flags at the New York opening. The show was very loud, very violent, and full of bombs. On set, crew members were hurt. People didn't like it, but it did well at the box office. Wayne didn't care what people thought. To let America know it was still strong, he said. He played Rooster Cogburn in True Grit in 1969. It was the only Oscar he ever won. He was 62 years old, weak from cancer, and having trouble breathing. He passed out from exhaustion while shooting. Work stopped for a week while he got better in the hospital. He did finish the movie, though. And the people welcomed him back. Was his last victory, but his body was giving up behind the scenes. In 1979, doctors found stomach cancer after surgery to remove a liver. It was already everywhere. They took out his stomach. He tried to get help, but he was too weak. After 5 months, he died at age 72. In 1976, he made his last movie, The Shootist, which was about a gunfighter who is dying. More than anyone wanted to admit, it was a lot like his own life. Wayne did an interview with Playboy in 1971, 8 years before he died, that would ruin his reputation. He said that until black people learned more, he believed in white dominance. He said that he didn't feel bad about being a slave. He said that Native Americans were greedy. He said those words himself. Those words came up again in 2020. A lot of people wanted his name taken off of public buildings. USC took down his show. Even his son Ethan said there was no reason. At the same time, Joseph Stalin liked movies. Every one of his houses had its own theater, and he watched movies every night. Sergei Gerasimov, a Russian filmmaker, went to New York in 1949 for a peace meeting. He heard John Wayne strongly condemn communism there. He told Stalin everything when he got back to Moscow. Hitler knew that John Wayne was getting powerful in Hollywood. Wayne had helped arrange for the Motion Picture Alliance to be formed in 1944. He also backed Senator McCarthy and the House Un-American Activities Committee, which in 1947 put a lot of people on a blacklist. Stalin was very angry after reading the whole report and seeing a movie that night. He told them to kill John Wayne because he was a threat. In the early 1950s, the first try was made. 2 Soviet spies acted like they were FBI agents. They were going to kill Wayne somewhere after taking him from his Warner Brothers office. However, the real FBI already knew what was going on. The real agents were hiding in a nearby room when the fake agents showed up. Soon after, Yakima Canute, a close friend of John Wayne and stuntmen, said that the plan was for them to come and John would fight them himself. Real FBI agents with guns came out and stopped the Soviet men when they walked into the office. The agents were scared of being sent back to Stalin, so they decided to work for the enemy instead. They told America dark things just to stay away from home. They knew Stalin killed people who didn't do what he said they would do. In 1953, Wayne tried again while he was in Mexico shooting Hondo. Stalin had already died by that time, but someone still tried to carry out the plan. Someone with a gun had been sent to shoot Wayne while the movie was being made. But security in Mexico. Being alert, they found the man before anything else did. This proved how far the communist groups could go. Wayne was still in danger even after Stalin left. He didn't give up. The FBI also didn't protect him. He told her, "I'm not going to hide away for the rest of my life. This is the free country." That quote stuck with me. It wasn't until 1983 that the most shocking fact came to light. Orson Welles was at a dinner party in Hollywood. When he told author Michael Munn the whole story without thinking about it. Welles didn't even like John Wayne, but he said that Russian producers had told him that. Andrzej Kapler was one of them. He had been jailed before for dating Stalin's young daughter. Kapler told director Sergei Bondarchuk, who then checked with Sergei Gerasimov. Everything was confirmed by Gerasimov, who was the one who first told Stalin about Wayne. Bondarchuk then told Welles, who then told others. All of this was written about by Munn in his book John Wayne, The Man Behind the Myth. During the Vietnam War in 1966, John Wayne went to see American troops. The communist leader of China, Mao Zedong, sent a shooter to kill him. Before anything could happen, the shooter was caught. When he was being questioned, he said that Mao had directly ordered the hit. Mao thought Wayne was a bad influence, especially during the Vietnam War. Wayne wasn't stopped by that either. Never ran away, always stood up for the troops and spoke out against communism. Wayne and the FBI worked together on a trick in 1952. Again, two Soviet spies who said they were FBI agents came to take him away. Wayne went along with it. He gave them chairs. Then, out of the blue, he pulled out a gun and pointed it at them. He told them, "Now, you SOVs, I'm going to kill you both." He fired the gun 3 times. There were loud bangs, but he had only loaded blanks. The agents were scared. They believed they were dead. That moment broke their minds. They never got better. Afterward, Yakima Kennett told us even more. He said Wayne wouldn't hide when the FBI told him about the risk. He told the agents to come in. "I'll take care of them." He didn't want cops around. He chose not to run. He wanted to be free, be proud, and be ready for any risk. People from a communist group were caught hiding in a Burbank printing shop in 1955. The stuntmen that worked with Yakima and Wayne had set up their own secret watch network. They didn't wait when they found out. They broke in and beat the men badly. After that, they bought them plane tickets to go back to Russia. Those men were never seen again. It looked like they were gone. In 1959, 4 years later, something strange took place. The new head of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, met John Wayne. He said sorry during the meeting. He said that Stalin made that choice during his last 5 crazy years. "I took back that order when Stalin died." Khrushchev had always liked movies by Wayne. The death threat was taken care of by him. Once that was over, the Soviets didn't try again. Even though the Cold War was still going on, Wayne was no longer in danger. The Soviet spies who were caught first had a big reason to work together. They were scared of Stalin. They knew that going back would kill them. They begged the FBI to keep them in the United States after Wayne's fake murder with the blank gun. In exchange, they gave the US useful information, which the US accepted. Through their words, those 2 men helped the United States during the most dangerous years of the Cold War. Still, some people don't believe the story. Some people think it's just making up stories about the Cold War. The whole story was told in Michael Munn's book in 2003. But Orson Welles was his main source, he said it without being asked. There were so many exciting parts to the story that it sounded like a movie. The stuntmen in Wayne's movies beat up communists, there are shooters in Mexico, and double agents switch sides. Some people say it's just Hollywood celebrities getting bigger over time. Stalin liked people from the West. He had his own viewing rooms. Did he really want the horse hero to die? After many years, John Wayne got a very different kind of backlash. As part of the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, some people began sharing an old interview Wayne did with Playboy in 1971. He had said, "I believe in white supremacy until black people are so smart that they can take care of themselves." Besides that, he didn't care about the pain of Native Americans. Because of these quotes, some people want to change the name of the Orange County John Wayne Airport. A motion from the Democratic Party asked for the change. The petition was shared online by more than 6,000 people. USC even took his name off of their film school. California had already turned down a plan for John Wayne Day in 2016. His reputation was being questioned by more and more people. That being said, Wayne had a great run. He was in more than 170 movies. In the US alone, his pictures brought in about $700 million. He was the biggest movie star at the time because of that. On Variety's list of the top-grossing movies, 32 were his work. The first was Reap the Wild Wind in 1942, which made $4 million, and the last was The Shootist in 1976, which made $6 million. But his part in the McCarthy blacklists is still not well liked. He openly backed putting people on a blacklist, especially director Edward Dimitri. In the end, Dimitri chose 22 people to go back into the business. In the end, Wayne told me that he was the only person who had ever fooled me. Wayne even said that the person on the list should have been sent to Russia. John Wayne died in June 1979, leaving his family in a lot of trouble. There was $6.85 million in his will. 3 of his wives were left out of the will, and he had 7 children with them. By 2010, his daughter Issa had sued her brother Ethan for claims of ownership. The fight went on for a long time. The grandchildren joined in. Some said they had 2.8% shares. Some people said they owned 14%. As of 2011, more than 700 personal things had been sold at auction. His name was used in court cases. Some biographers think that Wayne made up a story about himself as a tough guy. That the stories about Stalin and the KGB might have been made up to make them more shocking. It's possible that Wayne helped that picture grow on purpose. The story has never gone away, though, no matter if it was true or not. A cowboy who spoke out against Stalin. A movie star who fought killers with a gun. A brave American who wouldn't hide. This person was complicated, they made friends and stories about them at the same time. And a history that still makes people disagree today.